You might put my jacket on for this, I'm getting cold.
Getting what?
A bit cold. Goodness. Sorry, folks.
Just because you said that, it's now going at the beginning of the video.
Good. Oh. It's fucking, if we didn't have to do it with the fucking...
I mean, we've been gone for months, and now you just hold us up by putting your jacket on.
Suck a dick. Marge.
What was that?
Marge the Goer.
Was what?
Is that now?
By O.T. Hando Cadict. That's strange to pronounce. Things have changed in Springfield. A deadly disease has severely contracted ever since Lovejoy, of all people, committed his sinful act. It's Marge fever. And the local blue-haired wife and mother of 3 is a woman addicted to adultery. Chapter 1.
I'm going straight to hell, diddly hell!
Shut up!
The croaky-voiced woman grunted.
And fuck me harder!
That's a top-down, fucking incredible Marge impression.
I can't.
I'm fucking blown the fuck away. Cries of ecstasy filled the room. It was quite clear who the gentleman was. No other than Springfield resident who could pull off what had become some sort of catchphrase in sentences. And Maud had passed away years ago. So who was Ned having his way with? Well, Marge Simpson, the town slut, unbeknownst to her husband of all people. Even Bart and Lisa knew it, and hell, Maggie had probably even clued on. It was as if Homer was the last remaining soul to see that his perfect wife was anything but. He never expected it from her for starters, and when you see someone being being a conventional as a wife as her, thoughts of adultery never cross your mind. It's not that Marge didn't love Homer, she did. She also loved sex. And that's where her dopey husband underachieved. Persistently. The blue-haired slut out of hell, a nickname Ned would soon give her, rode the devout Christian father of 2, as if every little detail of her life depended on it.
Harder! Harder!
She panted breathlessly as Ned sat with his bag, drooling like he was the new Homer.
Forgive me, God!
He pleaded, clearly enjoying the sensation but asking for redemption, while committing the act of all things.
Oh my God!
Marge screamed.
Oh God! Thank you for the cock! You gave me your white little protege, God!
Protege.
Protege?
Protege, God!
Gotta love that protege.
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 She said with a grin. The slapping impact filled the room, one after the other, and the pace fastened.
Ah!
Ned groaned with a sharp sensation.
Here he comes!
Marge shrieked with glee. With complete control, she thrust herself into him. She thrust herself in him.
In him?
In him?
Yeah, with complete control, she thrust herself in him deeper and quicker than ever. I swear to God, I'm not retarded. I just can't fucking read this right.
Oh no, you are retarded,
but the way some of these are written, like, I'm gonna try and mentally correct it as I read it. Yeah, that's you, John.
Okay. Fuck that fucking pussy, you pansy!
Her wild side. Her wild side was, as you can tell, quite wild. Marge Simpson on your TV and Marge Simpson on her slut tour were completely 2 different beings.
Fuck me! Ooh.
Marge shouted at the sheer capacity of her lungs.
Fill me the fuck up!
She demanded rigorously. Ned whimpered, like pussy Marge took him for. His package was substantial, but his mindset was like that of some she-male nun. And was as frustrating as it was for Marge to bear with. It's what made it fun. That's what made it so taboo. And Ned was unique in that way. Hell, even Reverend Lovejoy was a careless brute in the sack. Bondage, name-calling, all other kinky shit. Believe it or not, he was the king of all that in this two-faced, sex-crazed town. And Lovejoy was the man to ignite the match for Marge, so to speak. He was her first in a well over 20 years, apart from Homer, of course, and made her the town cum doll in this past year. On the occasional visit to Shelbyville, Lovejoy would call upon all the newly legal women, and, more often than not, to be the guy to pop their cherries. 18 years old, half normal, half country hit girls who saw Lovejoy as high-end. How this man was still considered a man of God went completely out the window. Sure, all his companions were of legal age and sound mind, except perhaps Brandeline. I don't know what that...
I think it said Brandine as well.
Brandine? I don't know.
I still don't make any sense.
Brandine?
Brandine?
Isn't that redneck dude's wife? Brandine?
Brandine. I think so.
Yeah. Well, there we go. But for a fellow who stands up every Sunday in spreading the holy word to then 5 minutes later go to sticking his dick in whatever so wife or teenager he desires is utterly fucked up. Anyway, back to the story. To cut her sex romp with good fellow Flanders short, he came. She laughed manically, got dressed, he got dressed, he projectile vomited with guilt, and she pissed on the carpet. Yeah, disturbing. That's how much Simpson was now. Next stop, Moe's Tavern.
Oh, God.
Marge drove her orange station wagon through the cold night. She wore a sparkling red dress, no bra, and only the skimpiest of G-strings. Easy access for all the drunken oafs. As she turned the corner in town, police lights flickered on the car behind her. Marge pulled over opposite the comic book store with nothing but a sigh. Still partially drunk from an early night's drowning of wine that she helped herself to at Flanders, Marge knew what was going on. Chief Wiggum was on duty, and anything that liked more than donuts and cash bribes were sexual favours. Better yet for Marge, her hair turned the chubby guy on. Sickly, because they shared the same hair colour, Wiggum fantasised it as incest. Great. And Marge would have joy wretched at the thought, but that's the decent side of her was erased long ago. Hardcore as I came now.
Hello, Marge Simpson.
Wiggum said with distinct cockiness.
Can you blow into this for me?
Yes, but...
Marge stopped in her tracks, taken aback by Wiggum's frank attitude tonight. It wasn't a breathalyzer test the copper was referring to. His cock lay on her unwound window. She didn't even leave to making the offer tonight, and Wiggum's public exposure didn't seem to faze him. Be it the streets were dead quiet, but it wasn't like that couldn't change in an instant.
I'm gonna have to ask you to step into the back of your car. Oh, no, it's not.
No.
I'm gonna have to ask you to step into the back of your car, miss.
Wiggum said with mischievous authority. Happily complying, Marge opened her car door once Chief backed away enough. As she stood on the pavement, Wiggum grabbed her ass.
Had any drinks tonight?
Oh, you know, 9 or 10 glasses.
She smiled wickedly.
That's a good slut.
He slapped her ass and squeezed it. Marge opened her back door and got in. I thought I was going a different way, but it probably will in a moment. Wiggum following. Unbuckling his belt, he sweated to take his pants down. Normally Marge would find this rather large, rather simple-minded man grotesque. This Marge found him oddly sexy.
Back in tonight, Simpson.
He ordered, and Marge moved accordingly. Lying on her stomach across the back seats, Chief hastily lifted her tight dress and rammed himself inside her asshole, called it milking the opportunity for all it's worth. So thin it was, the G-string didn't interfere one iota. Wiggum thrust inside her ragged, used-up ass time and time again. Wiggum panted, snickered and snorted, giving further evidence of the recent gossip of his possible pig ancestry. That was just thrown in. That's just... While Marge moaned wildly, albeit forced and fake for the most part, to satisfy her bribe host. It was at this point Marge noticed the comic book guy outside her window staring her in the face.
Trampiest mother ever.
She heard him through the closed window. Marge rolled her eyes, having readily predicted comic book guy would yank his dick out and start jerking. The even fatter oaf opened the opposite back door and welcomed his manhood, what little there was of it, to her face. Wiggum didn't mind a smidgen, only encouraging the giant nerd man to satisfy the slut they had all to themselves. Marge Simpson, the slut, had become sort of a legend to comic book guy. The title stands in the name of some X-rated comic series. His rubber-sized penis, yes it did technically still qualify as such, grew twofold as he stroked in inches from her clenched jaw. The next thing Marge knew, a few piss-weak strings of cum flew away, and comic book guy howled like a wild boar getting it up the rear.
Biggest premature ever.
Marge mocked comic book guy with his own thing, and rightfully so, the climax went nearly undetected. Talk about problems, jeez. More formidably, It was now Wiggum that had his own release, right up her ass as he emptied his load, and Marge shrieked from the thrill of it. Her new persona melted at the thought of what had just happened. She loved the thought of cum settling inside her, just like Flanders had not so long ago.
Be on your way, ma'am.
Wiggum said courteously, lifting herself up with a struggle and a grunt.
Thanks again, Chief. I'm so glad the Force looks out for me.
She gave him a smile.
Extra hard for you, Simpson.
Wiggum said, fitting his pants and belt back on.
If you know what I mean.
He chuckled, the pig way only Wiggum does. The pair of them shared a polite, good doing business smile before parting separate ways onto their steering wheels. Comic book guy was nowhere to be seen, and thankfully so. Poor fellow was probably embarrassed, but there's no way Marge would ever spend more time with someone like that. 2 seconds in and he shoots, and probably shooting blanks too. Those strings were damn flimsy. Way to kick a man when he's down.
Oh, I know, Jesus.
Marge started her engine and drove a minute or two to Moe's. She pulled up on the roadside, behind Homer's pink sedan, turned his own off, and stepped outside. Patting the creases out of her dress, having been extra busy tonight, she headed inside the tavern. Carl, Lenny and Homer were on the stools, quite obviously not in the clearest state of minds as Moe cleaned a stein glass with a filthy rag. The grey-haired, born with unfortunate facial features bartender spotted Marge almost instant.
Oh, hey, Midge.
He welcomed her, a bit shifty-eyed. Marge made that frustrated little noise in her throat.
Marge.
She corrected him.
Hey, look! Homer's wife's here!
Lenny had held his beer up to her, and Carl and Homer looked over with reddening eyes.
Hey, I screwed you last night.
Carl said, about as drunk as you'd get before passing out.
Shh!
Moe quipped that last reveal. Thankfully, Homer didn't seem to register what Carl had said, so blinded by the beer.
So?
Marge spoke up, keen to change the subject before Homer could have some freak delayed reaction.
Where's Barney?
Taking a leak.
Moe replied, understanding this wasn't just Marge's curiosity that asked the question.
Oh, okay.
She answered
Conservatively.
That's not what I spelled conservatively.
It is.
Standing there for a few more seconds as the three drinkers slowly drew their eyes back onto their drinks and their hands off their...
Go.
Moe mouthed to her as Marge promptly made her way back past the fellas with their backs turned into the men's room. A minute later, soft bumps were heard coming from the toilets, then slightly louder moans and groans. Neither Lenny, Carl nor Homer tuned to it.
Just gonna go and take a dump, fellas.
Moe informed the trio. He could hear the sounds of fornication in his tavern's toilets loud and clear, knowing full well it was the reason Marge had shown up. He swiftly exited the bar place and joined Marge and Barney in the piss-infested room, even too putrid for a toilet. There was Barney sitting up against the wall with Marge, riding his large frame like a slut possessed. Friction was aplenty, and as Marge's tight ass slapped hard against Gumball's multitude of flab. Making himself useful, Moe dropped his pants and crouched down behind Marge, running his hands down to her waist and then up in front to her breasts. His dick grew. They bounced in his grip as the woman rode Barney to whatever place she saw fit. Nudging close to her, Moe controlled his hard-on, steering it into her ever-moving arsehole. Not desiring to put a pause on Marge's fun, he directed the insertion himself. After 6 or 7 attempts at plugging her, his tip finally dug inside Marge's butt. She moaned a little more in that instant, before Moe gyrated himself up and down in the rhythm she was. Balancing himself on with the palm of his hands, Moe pierced further into her with each thrust. So here was the slut being done in 2 holes, double penetration, and she was fucking adoring it. Neither man was exactly dreamy or hulky, but Marge didn't mind one bit. They were dirty like her, and therefore she viewed them as good enough sex buddies. 20 minutes flew by with multiple orgasms here and there by multiple participants. Not a peep came from the 3 drunks just meters away on the other side of the door. Moe opened the bathroom door chivalrously for Marge first. She walked out, patting down her ironically elegant red dress. She looked like $1,000,000, but she was whoring herself out, and for free, to make it all the worse. Moe then walked out without a smiling customer, chuckling away as he watched Marge's butt walk away. He had been staring at it for so long, he had pictured it bare naked right now.
See you later, homie.
She strolled up beside her oblivious husband and gave him a kiss on the cheek.
Bye, Fuzz.
She shot a glance at Carl and Lenny as Homer didn't respond, still too heavily dosed on the alcohol.
Fuck you later.
Carl remarked inappropriately again. There was more fun to speak like that with Marge fucking all your troubles away, as she had done the night before, but not while her husband was right there. Jeez, but it wasn't his fault, for he was all too wasted, as his best friend Lenny was. Marge rocked up at home. The clock read 11:05. The kids were asleep as Marge checked in before departing to her room. She stayed up another hour watching porn on the new TV in their room. On low volume, she played with her nude body all over to this homemade compilation of Springfield's biggest slut, herself. Having the men around town taped their certain escapades with Marge got her hot beyond anything else. Actually fucking these guys and being a complete slut in the particular moment was incredible, but to have them to play back was twice as hot. Her front and back had been firing a hole of 4 different men tonight alone, and even it was still barely enough, as Marge couldn't wait to wake up tomorrow and do it all again with whoever she desired. She was utterly whored out, cheating wife, mother of 3. That was the way she liked it, being the goer of all things dirty in this Marge-addicted town.
Maybe there'll be some pussy tomorrow.
Marge whispered. She drifted off to sleep. End of chapter 1, Marge the Goer.
Chapter 1 out of
5. I haven't watched Simpsons in years, and I'm not sure I want to anymore.
I don't know, I think it'd be nice to go and watch it now with this fresh new outlook on Marge. When she's not on screen, it's just like,
I'm pretty certain,
wonder what Marge is doing.
I'm pretty certain one of the chapters has Bart in. It's real gross.
Oh, okay.
Oh well, now I definitely see The Simpsons differently.
Yeah. Nope, that's a boo.
Is Yoda going to appear in the new Star Wars film? Or not?
We're a bit late with that.
If you watch the old ones,
Yeah, but
then no.
maybe he's alive and he's going to come
Maybe
back.
he's a Force ghost.
Yeah, Yoda is a Force ghost.
I mean, he is a Force ghost, so he really could appear.
Yoda will be back. He'll be back for good.
She's shagging Millhouse. He's 10.
Oh, God.